Hello and welcome back. Today we are here with the tough as nails, Bryant Jennings. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You are a world-class heavyweight boxer who has won 24 out of your 28 fights thus far. You fought multiple times at the infamous Madison Square Garden. You are a former USBA title holder, IBF International Heavyweight Champion, and NABO champion. You were also featured in the hit documentary The Game Changers and proudly follow a plant-based diet and are from Philadelphia.
Yes.
All right, let's get into the questions. When did you start boxing and what inspired you to start?
I started boxing January of 2009. My inspiration for boxing probably was because my son, my son was born September 25th on my birthday.
Wow, you have the same birthday as your son?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Mason.
Mason.
Mason Superb Jennings.
Oh.
Yeah. So after that, I was trying to figure out ways to, up my finances. I was a high class athlete coming out of high school, and I set my dreams and I set my standards a little high. And working at the Federal Reserve, I was a building mechanic, which was relatively a good job. making 45,000 a year or whatever with overtime. Almost doubling that. For a 23, 24-year-old. I think I wanted to make a stand, and my guy at the gym, because it was at the rec center that I used to go to. He would always tell me, when you gonna start the gym. So he finally got me in there, and from day one, never looked back.
So the fellow that was at the gym really inspired you to start?
Yeah, Fred Jenkins, and he was my first trainer.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you were 23?
I was 24.
24.
Yeah.
So 5.5 years after you walked into a gym, you were fighting for the world heavyweight title. Please explain how this happened so fast and how that is even possible.
Yeah, well, I think me fighting for the heavyweight championship so fast, it happened. Nobody could really redo that.
Yeah.
Especially without having amateur experience, without having professional experience. Someone of a caliber of having 19 fights, which that's what I had at the time. They would have had to been a high class, Olympian or something like that, or a high class amateur fight or amateur background. But I think I'm not the only one that fought, so soon in those, but I was the only one that was inexperienced that fought so soon. So I just think that it was very special, and it also took the guts of my trainer, Fred Jenkins. He would always sell me more than what everybody knew I was worth. And so he would always push the envelope for me to take the chances. But without him doing all that, I was a person that was willing to do that. Yeah. So you have to have had both.
Right.
Someone to push and someone to be able to say, okay, I need you to push me.
Right.
On top of that, what's most important, was just as important is the political standpoint of the positioning with your representatives. I have a great manager, Jay Prince. And at the time I had a promoter, Gary Shaw. And we had, HBO was our best friends. And it happened with the collaboration of all, and it's just something that really couldn't be repeated, based off of we all played a great role in it happening. And it was a very interesting experience for me.
Yeah. So just to paint a picture for the audience, somebody that was competing for the title that you were competing after 5.5 years, how many years would be normal, let's say? So
the last Philly-born heavyweight to fight, at least fight, not even win, but to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world, I believe it was Tim Witherspoon, and that was in 1995.
Wow.
So between 1995 to 2015, there was only, and up until now, I am the only person since 1995 to fight for the heavyweight championship. Like no one from, being born in Philly, no one has fought for it, let alone win it. No one, not saying they haven't gotten close, but nah. So within those 20 years, we had plenty of people that come in and out of the boxing game, and people that have tried, people that just really just didn't get to it and make their way to it. So It's a blessing.
It is. You said if you're an elite individual, you educate yourself in nutrition. By default, you become a vegan. Yeah. What made you go vegan, and how did it impact your athleticism, endurance, and mental clarity?
Yeah, well, I represent elite class. Elite class is something that we created, and it was something that we knew that we had to live by, because that was the definition of what elite class pretty much stood for. And it just meant to, do your best at everything, be elite at everything. So me, wanting to be the best at whatever I did, adopting a vegan or plant-based lifestyle was something I was the last one to do it, but it just really was something that it was just like all of the major and main people like in history that I've looked up to, things like that. They followed a pretty clean diet, pretty clean surroundings. It was just all about elevating yourself and being the best that you can be, on top of understanding the ingredients, the chemicals, and things that are in the American diet. And it's definitely something that I would recommend for someone to do. I don't push it no more. I just say, do what you need to do. I even find ways to say, all right, well, maybe people consume it too much. So if you don't consume animal products as much, then you're fine. I mean, I'm trying to get them to at least budge.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead and eat it, but just don't eat it as much. Well, because I can't really get through to people, because they say, oh, you're pushing it on you too hard on them. But I just say, I want y'all to experience what I experienced.
Exactly.
And as far as the athleticism and the improvements, I more so do the plant-based diet for long term. Yeah. Not just overnight. So you're not going to go eat, 3 salads and be able to jump 3 inches higher. No, it's not going to happen. This here is for the benefit of long-term benefits, when you get up in age. And then for the overnight benefits, some more so, it's like your skin, your healing, your thought process is definitely something that enhances. And maybe it's because, you're not eating things that are under particular substances and stuff like that. So
you like to say you're drug-free, right?
You're drug-free. I'm drug-free. So that's one of the main things. And that's actually one of the most important things, because when you're dealing in the aspect of thinking and strategizing and peer pressure and the world, period, you need a clear mind. And some people, they can't operate with a clear mind because they bother themselves. So they need to go, take something or do something or take away the reality and create something based off of, a substance. Yeah. That way they can get through whatever they're going through. If someone's stressed, they say, oh, I need a cigarette, or I need a joint, or I need to go drink. But for me, I faced it, I faced reality 100%. And I think that the fact that I was able to have a clear mind, it makes me stronger mentally, for me to be able to get through problems, without altering my reality.
Yeah. Cool. And then also drug-free with what you eat, because they inject antibiotics.
Yeah, for sure.
Hormones.
Yeah. So my son grew up vegan.
Nice.
But right now I'm having a little difficult time with, keeping it. So, being not only me being plant-based, but having others, that I'm responsible for be plant-based, and having people that's also responsible for him to not necessarily have the discipline or not necessarily understand the reason, or just for some reason just can't do it. It plays a part to where as though, you're playing a little bit of tug of war.
Yeah. Did you think that since you're a heavyweight boxer, did you feel or worry that you were going to drop a lot of weight once you went vegan? How do you maintain your weight?
I mean, you never know what to maintain, before the change. So you have to. So this is one of the reasons it took me a while to make the transition, because I was vegetarian for maybe almost 2 years before I turned full vegan. Because some of the things that we're mentally we're mentally manipulated by just saying, oh, we need this, and then there was things that I found out that I didn't need. So me maintaining afterwards, I found out is like I could still eat what I want. I could still eat regular. I could still eat normal. I'm not dropping any weight.
Nice.
I'm lean already.
Nice.
I just got leaner. And most of the time, some people say, "Yo, look like you came down." I say, "Yeah, I came down, but I came up in weight."
In muscle.
Yeah, in muscle. So it's like right now I may be 235, and I've been 220 to 225 since I was 15 years old.
Okay.
So I maintained everything, and even for now, for being 235, it's probably because when I was in London, me and Derek Cesaros, who I'll be out there with, we put in a lot of work, and we gain muscle, and we do things like that. So, but other than that, I have no issues with maintaining weight.
What do you eat day to day, and what do you eat to prep for a fight? Or do you do anything different to prep?
No, I don't do anything different for a fight. I pretty much eat peanut butter and jelly a lot.
Peanut butter and jelly is good.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly is good. Some of my favorite is peanut butter and jelly. But Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, cashews, pistachios, figs, and dates, pretty much. So I can live off that.
Really? So
yeah.
Fruit and nuts.
Yeah, fruit and nuts. I can live off that. And then also, fruits like strawberries, blueberries, normal fruits.
Yeah.
But as far as like preparing for fights, whatever I do during training, quinoa, chickpea pasta, lentil pasta, sometimes wheat pasta as well and things like that. But I always eat what I would normally eat during camp. One of the problems is people will be in camp, have such a disciplined diet, eat particular times a day, particular portions, and things like that. And then when the fight week comes, we're at a venue, we're at a hotel, casino, or wherever, and they have a buffet. Totally opposite of what you've been eating and what you've been preparing yourself for over the week. So you take that last week and you just eat whatever you want, and it has an effect on your body. For me, I know whether it actually does or whether it's mental. I would like to think that it actually does. But
for sure.
But I go to the market, and say for instance, if the fight was away somewhere in another state, whatever, I go and I get what I would normally eat, and I would do that, and
nice.
And I'll be fine with that. That way, whatever I eat during training, I could be able to, revisit that, revisit those feelings and those reactions based off of what I was eating the whole time.
Nice. How do you train and prepare for a fight, and how do you recover? What's your workout like? And
yeah. Well, my workout now is changing. You get to work a little smarter. Being as though I'm 35, so you get to work a little smarter. I take a little bit more. I take a little more precaution of possible injuries, even though I don't think I'm a person that can't get any injuries, but I just haven't. But when it's a mental thing. When they say, when things start aching, but I'm like, I ain't felt none of that yet.
Nice.
But I'm just playing it safe just in case. So I take a lot of stress off of my legs, and I work other ways of cardio versus long distance running, which that's what I used to do.
What did it feel like to win your first professional fight? And what was your first fight as a vegan like? So let's talk about what did it feel like to win your first professional fight?
Yeah, my first professional fight, I actually knew the guy, and I knew I could beat him. And that's pretty much how all first professional fights go. You either you can beat him, or maybe it's just because it was a guy who they fell out. The guy fell out of the fight. Fell out mean he backed out or I didn't fight the particular guy I was supposed to fight.
Oh,
and I
so
think
you automatically win.
No, you don't automatically win. You got to fight in the pros.
Oh, okay.
And there's no walkovers in the pros.
Okay.
You don't show up, then they find somebody else real quick. But yeah, I just knew it was more of a comfortable feeling. It was crazy though. It was more than I expected, far as like the mentality, because it's like people pumped it up so much.
Yeah.
They pumped it up so much, and it was hard to knock him out.
Really?
I was like, I don't know why. I was like, dang, like shake loose, like what's going on? Like, and I knew I could knock him out, but it was just like so much mental, so much going on with my body at the moment. The way it was like, yo, it ain't working how you want it to work. I guess it was based off of maybe being anxious or maybe maybe being nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And but the first win is always like, dang, I really did this. More so because of when you have a debut, you always a lot of top amateur boxers, they pretty much say, dang, it's no more Olympics for me. Because like Olympics is the pride and joy of an amateur boxer. That's like the highest point, getting a gold medal, fighting for the Olympics or trying out for the Olympics. So, when you fight as a pro, your debut, you're like, oh, no more Olympics. Time to get this money, even though you check, you be like, this ain't doing nothing. Man, I think it was $750 my first check.
$750?
$750. To answer the second part of the question, fighting as a vegan for the first time. So as a vegetarian first, I fought my first HBO fight. My first fight as a vegetarian, that was January 25th of 2014.
Nice.
I had a knockout.
Nice.
I had a knockout. And the first fight as a full vegan was Klitschko.
Really?
Yeah. So that was my first fight at full vegan. And that was relatively one of my most notable performance. And that was the one that they said, Dag, just a little bit more. You would have got me started a little bit earlier.
What techniques do you use to stay calm, focused, and positive before and during a fight?
When you practice things at a high level, things you become more comfortable and you become more calm. Things start to slow down for you. So I just think that the method to that was a lot of practice at like high rated sparring or practicing and performing fast at fast paces. That way when you're in a fight, you do it so much. When you're in a fight, things just start to slow down for you. And your process, and you up your process, and you get to think better.
Yeah.
You get to perform better, and you're not under that much pressure. So therefore, everything that happens, you see it happening. You processing it good. You just relaxing and you're comfortable. It's more like say for instance, like a motorcycle driver or a NASCAR driver. It's like, okay, if they see somebody in the front, they're not panicking.
Yeah.
They know to say, okay, it's more so moving in slow motion. They know to say, okay, just turn to the side, or move left or move right. And it's just those movements that's just literally you just slowing it down, and you be able to move at a fast pace, and that pace is pretty much slowed down in your head.
Wow.
That's the method to it. And it all comes from a lot of practice.
And do you think you have a clear mind and are able to do that because of your diet?
I just think that, the diet is something that it's me. It's all a part of me. So if someone is judging me, or if someone is, assessing me, and they say, well, wow, this kid is this or this kid is that, like, what do we eat? And you say, okay, this is what he eats. So that's the diet, because my whole diet is my whole life, who I surround myself with, what I read, what I choose to look at, what I choose to be entertained by. That's my whole diet as well. Not just the diet when you put food in your mouth. It's the diet the energies that you allow and the energies that you're giving off.
Very wise.
Yeah.
Very, very wise. I think that's going to inspire a lot of people. Who is your greatest opponent, and what made the fight challenging for you?
My greatest opponent, well, as far as like my favorite, or like
The most challenging.
The most challenging opponent for me probably was Luis Ortiz.
Oh.
Yeah, and I fought him right after I fought Klitschko. You know, he's a Cuban southpaw, and I fought one undefeated southpaw, then fought a second undefeated southpaw, then I fought Klitschko, then I fought Ortiz, and it was pretty much it was back to back to back to back, you know. But that fight, I was hurt in the first round, and then it went all the way to the 7th round, and then the ref pretty much stopped it on my behalf, which I took the loss on the fight. But you know, I was trying. But if I would have got past that that last round, then I would have been able to regroup and go again. And because that was a dog fight. That was a dog fight, and it was just like, yo, for me to be hurt so early in the fight, you know, I stayed in it. You know, kept trading, kept doing this, and it was like, hey, this fight is getting very interesting. And then boom.
So what did it feel like to fight Wladimir?
Yeah, well, I actually don't really remember. You know, yeah, I have my buddy lives over here. He lived over here for 2 years, and we got together last night, and you know, we just had a conversation. I'm like, yo, you know, I always wanted to see what it felt like to be there at the Klitschko fight, because we was talking about the Klitschko fight. I always wanted to see what it felt like to be there. I want to see what it felt like to literally just like feel the energy of the crowd and just like, dag, you know, point down and say, dag, that's my homie right there. That's my friends fighting. I wanted to see how that felt, you know? And when I explained that to certain people, because I've explained it over time, plenty times, and I wasn't there mentally. I was so zoned out. And that's something that you figure 19,000 people. I think it was 18,975 or something like that. You know, 20, let's round it off, 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden. TV, you got this 6'6", 6'7" dude, 63 fights, 63 wins, 63 wins, man, 58 knockouts, 59 knockouts or something like that. And here I am, 19-0, you know, but it just was like, I was ready for it. You know, I was ready for it. It's just like, all right. So what I had to do, I had to channel myself to be able to go in and work and operate without anything to go wrong. Kind of like how my first fight was, you know, where I couldn't operate, couldn't move based off of, this is a new thing for me. It's like, yo, it ain't as easy as you thought. So I had to zone out. I had to, you know, completely remove myself from any anxieties, any nervousness. And shoot, like I'm not shaking now, but I'm like, man, it's like I'm shaking now, like the way it was like.
But that's true courage, though. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's doing something with fear. Yeah. So that's true courage. Yeah. Because I didn't. Yeah. Even though there was fear based off of being uncomfortable. Uncomfortableness brought some sort of fear. It wasn't like complete fear. It was like, yo, you don't have to fight. And I'd be like, well, thank you. Like, no, I was getting there fighting. Yeah. You know, that check was pretty big that day. And I was getting in there to fight, but I still don't know what it's like. Still don't know what it's like because I was so zoned out. Yep. Didn't even hear the crowd, and they said the crowd was like roaring. I blinked the whole crowd out, blinked everything. Have you watched it since? Like,
yeah, I watched it, but it's still, I can't recollect those feelings.
I get it.
It's I wasn't there. Like I wasn't there. And when I see pictures, like I used to tell people, yo, if you got videos, if you got pictures, yo, send them to me. Yeah. I want to see that because, you know, you can watch a Muhammad Ali fight. You can watch, 1978 NBA finals, and you can have the TV all the way up loud into it as if you're actually there. So we can actually do that based off of, seeing video, you're looking through pictures. You know, you can envision yourself there. You can picture yourself there and almost imagine yourself to say, okay, right. This is how to feel, at least would have been. Yeah. And maybe that can bring something back to me to recollect of how it actually was. But
well, you were definitely there physically because he said that it was one of his most challenging fights.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and after that, he lost to Tyson Fury.
What do you feel is your most effective combination of punches, and does it change with the style of the person you're fighting?
Yeah, it definitely changed with the style of the person I'm fighting. The jab works a lot of times, and this is what I plan to change based on my last few fights that I want to take. Most fighters go till they like 45. I'm 35, but
And you're vegan, so.
Yeah, and I'm vegan, but I like fighting is not forever for sure. But I want to implement letting go a lot of the power shots. Not necessarily early, but more frequent. But the right uppercut and the left hook was something that would get the guys. Right uppercut pretty much. My favorite combination is pretty much just the jab, the uppercut, and the left hook.
Left hook.
Yeah.
But it kind of changes with the person you're fighting.
Yeah, it kind of changes with the person that I'm fighting. Based off if the person's tall, then
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So if the person's falling in, it's all part of what you see in front of you. You know.
Yeah. You founded a boxing movement, and we talked a little bit about this beginning of the interview, in Philadelphia called Elite Klass. What is it, and what does it stand for?
Well, Elite Klass, elevating life internationally through entertainment, keeping life abundantly successful strategically. So that was like an acronym that we came up with. But Elite Klass is pretty much just saying you are in the class of the elites. So whatever you want to do, you have to be the best at it. You want to be a writer, you have to work and operate like an elite writer. And I just think that when you follow the rules and guidelines of Elite Klass, it pushes you automatically to be better.
And what are some of the rules?
But some of the rules is, some of the rules in life and in professions, to be elite is to be the best. So you want to have discipline. You want to have your ambition. You want to have your drive. You want to be a perfectionist. You want to be a master. A lot of people aren't masters of anything. They're just moving around doing things. So when you understand what it takes to be elite, and when you understand what it takes to be the best, we just attach that all within the whole Elite Klass thing, and just to say, okay, we are Elite Klass. So if we claim that title and we claim that group, then we have to act out and we have to perform all of the duties that it takes to be elite.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then all members are vegan, yeah?
All members are vegan.
But they don't have to be, but they just are.
No, all members are vegan.
They have to be.
You
better be, because you're elite. Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's a closed thing.
What advice would you give to an up-and-coming fighter who wants to be a champion like you?
Discipline. Ambition, and create the drive, and eliminate as many distractions as you possibly can. Because boxing, you don't play boxing. It's not a sport that you could just jump up and just do. Now, just because you may find 2 or 3 people out of 2 and 3 million that could actually do it, don't necessarily mean that a person that's interested in it should just go in it without taking it serious. I think boxing is something that you need to take serious.
For sure.
It has its ups, it has its downs. You just have to instill as much discipline as you can, and put in that work, working overtime if you have to.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Love, Gianna and
Bryant Jennings.